Hello. Oh my God. Y'all, my father called me in the middle of recording this video. I hit the stop button and like finished the whole video out. So basically, I'm gonna have to restart what I already said. So I'm gonna skip the first 2 minutes because the first 2 minutes was all about me. So I was gonna say, new look, 1 week's growth. Okay, we start. We pick up where we left off. Ah, man, I gotta say this over. We pick up where we left off with Erica being a loose cannon. I truthfully don't think that this helped her at all, but they bring up, I think it was Delmar, no, La Quinta. They bring up La Quinta, and whenever everything first was coming out, and how Erica basically left the day before. Because I think Andy asked the question. No, Erica mentioned, I wasn't invited to that dinner. Basically, they could have invited me, asked me, I'm the source, asked me the questions. But, like Garcelle and some of the other ladies were saying, like, how can we ask you whenever you look at how you respond? Which Andy was like, you just bit Crystal's head off. Look at how you're responding. And she's like, well, if you were in this situation, how would you respond? And he's like, she said, will you be furious? He was like, yes, I'll be angry, but I would allow my friends to ask me questions. She's like, well, they should have asked me. They didn't invite me. I'm the source. They didn't talk to me. I'm the source. And I was happy when Garcelle was like, well, honestly, given your reaction and how you behaved, basically just because I made a simple comment, why would we want to invite you? Basically, nobody wanted to invite you, maybe except for Rena. Now, we discovered, which we already knew, that Rena gave Erica a heads up about the conversation when they had the Christmas dinner. Now, it's not shocking. Erica came in with kind of this air, this attitude, and the thing is, I remember that Christmas dinner when Lisa kind of put stuff on Sutton right then, kind of called her out, bam, and like, here you go, thrown her stuff, and was like, basically, say what you said at the meeting. I didn't like that. Now, I don't mind Lisa telling Erica about the dinner because I believe that's fair. If you're my friend and you hear people talking about me, setting this stuff up about me, please share that with me. I do not in any way, shape, or form blame Lisa Rinna for sharing that information. I don't blame her. I would have done the same thing if it was my friend. That's just honesty. However, what I don't like that Lisa Rinna did is she did not share the fullness and the depth of it. She made it seem like it was only Sutton. That was the problem for me. Did I catch up to where I was? I do not know. So Andy asked a question. I think it was a viewer question about how is she maintaining her lifestyle if she's broke? Because you remember she was trying to say she was broke on the show. I'm broke, but you make $600,000 on Beverly Hills. You were on Broadway headliner. You have music, and you get paid for being like an IG model in a sense. So you're not broke. But see, this is what was funny. Erica said she's never seen one of her checks. Ever. Right? She didn't see her checks. They went straight to Tom's firm. And, when Andy was like, well, how you maintain your life? She was like, well, you said that you paid me a lot of money, right? You know how much I made. So, excuse me. In that regard, if that's the case, then you see your money. You can't tell me that you get paid, all your money go to his accounts, but they freeze his stuff. So since all the money went to those accounts and those accounts are frozen, then did you redirect your funds? Like, what happened? Because that's what we're trying to figure out. And I think Erica's trying to rely on this peripheral versus central view thing, Where, see, with a central view, you pay attention to what the person is actually saying, right? So this is something of interest. You are, in a space where you're kind of like in a maybe a bad mood potentially, like you're irritated, which this situation has irritated all of us, right? Not everybody, but a vast majority. So we're kind of this irritated, aggravated, angry place. So we're paying full on attention to what you're saying. I think she's trying to rely on that peripheral view, which is all about what I look like, how I make stuff sound, my name, where I am, kind of like on a pedestal view. When people are in good views, good vibes, they're not really paying attention to what you're saying. They're just vibing on like, yeah, right. That's what she's banking on, and she's not recognizing that we're all a bit taken aback because we know that burn victims, airplane crash victims, orphans, widows, all these people are in this stuff. Now, I'm not saying that the man did it or not because I don't know. I wasn't on the case. I'm not in the case. I have no idea. But what I will say is this: the way that she's presenting herself is that she believes that her aesthetics are the things that's going to really keep her safe when it's really not, because a lot of people are truly paying attention to what you are saying, and what you're saying does not make sense. So I want to pray for her on that. Maybe. Um, I want to say this is where this thing came up with Sutton, about her talking to, knowing someone who knows that, husband lost um, a friend's husband left the law firm because he said that Tom was doing shady stuff with the business, or the wife felt like it. And I could tell Sutton knows. She just didn't want to say on camera, which is okay. I think that's fair to protect your friends as well. Now, I am one that's kind of like, tell me who said something about me, and blah blah blah. But see, this is a different situation. Erica, the way that you treated her, if I was Sutton, I would not help you. Mm-mm. She couldn't get me to spit my own fluids in her direction with the way that she treated Sutton. It's something gonna help her probably. It's something probably gonna tell her the name. But you know what? I don't think she is, because those people are her friends. So I highly doubt that she would. If she did, that'd be messed up on Sutton's part, to be honest. So if I was Sutton, I would keep my mouth closed. Let her go ahead and deal with her attorneys, and let her keep spinning all these spinning topics, because she think we only see one, but we see like five of them. Let her handle her business. Leave it alone. And Hmm. Excuse me, y'all. There's just so much going on with that, and then I have everything written down here. It's just a mess. So, they talk about Tom's decline a little bit more. His decline again. Andy brings up how it was said, of course, because this all went in line with Sutton stuff. What she said about her friend, that he was kind of losing grips 10 years ago, but you're saying it just happened 3 years ago. Like, make it make sense. Because again, if he was still running his firm, there was nobody was saying like a thing. Like, he had everything intact mentally then. So if he did, let's just say it was the last 3 years that he didn't have stuff intact. He's still liable, still culpable for the things that happened this other 7 years and prior. Like, I'm sorry. You can't tell me that you've been married to somebody for 20 years, 2 decades, and you just recognized their decline 3 years ago. Mm-mm. Nope. That does not sit well with me. That don't sit right with me. I don't believe it. I'm just going to be honest. That's me. There's no way. Because as caregivers, when you're in the home with someone, you recognize that stuff a lot sooner than later. You see it. That so and so's a lot angrier now. So and so can barely remember some stuff. We need to take them to the doctor. What's wrong? You're right. So and so is depressed over there. What is wrong? Like, you see it. He's a rich white man. I'm sorry, he's a rich, powerful white man. You cannot tell me that there is no way possible that this rich white, powerful man was having cognitive decline, and not one person that crossed his path offered some help. I'm sorry, I just can't. I can't. You can't tell me that it was just 3 years ago. And you know, I know that she said in the hospital she was the one who told the doctor not to operate because they had another friend who said to wait. Another medical doctor friend who said to wait. This is my thing. Erica, if you're the one making the decision, then that makes you liable. Because you knew that his mental was declining. And instead of you giving him the help immediately, you sit and you wait. That make you liable. You're his wife. Just moving on. Just go moving on. Go moving on. Lisa Rinna. I'm gonna skip over Lisa Rinna because if I don't, I think I'm gonna blow a fuse. Um, Garcelle, Andy reads a tweet about why didn't any of the other women call Erica a bully, the way that she treated Sutton, and Garcelle liked and retweeted it, which Garcelle said that she felt bad for Sutton at the Christmas dinner. She wished she would have said more. She wished she would have said something, said this is enough, this needs to stop. And that was very telling. Garcelle is in a very difficult position because when she speaks up, she can be perceived as Dorit called her a bully. But whenever she's passive, things kind of slide by and she holds that guilt of kind of like that, like, what do I do? How do I fit? Personally, I would have handled them like I would have handled anybody else who's in my skin tone, complexion range, and not. I would have went off. You don't do that stuff to people. However, the reason that they don't call Erica bully, and we know why that is, you put a label on things that you want to label. They don't want to label her as that because they find her to be more precious, as she said. Right? She's sensitive. She's precious right now. We can't do that. However, Erica has been rude and nasty and stuff to people for years. So yeah, we can consider that a bully. But just because Garcelle said that you needed to shut up, you called her a bully. Dorit is the true definition of I try not to use that R word, man. I'll put it like this. Tendencies are showing. Tendencies are showing, and I'm gonna say the word is racist tendencies that are showing, especially from Dorit Kemsley, for sure. Keep it moving. But Erica, it's come from Erica too. She wants to say, oh, if this was Atlanta, if this was Potomac, if this is New York, this would be a conversation. Let me tell you something, Erica. Whenever she told Sutton, basically the threat of, I'm coming for you. I'm coming for you. We found out that Sutton had also hired security for a week because she said Erica threatened her and her family. She didn't know what Erica would do. And Erica was like, well, you came after my family. She didn't come after your family. She came after you. And she didn't really come after you. She was questioning you because you was lying. Sis, you were lying. And so Erica says, if this was Atlanta, if this was Potomac, if this was New York, this would be a conversation. She drugged New York in there because I can guarantee you she didn't want to think of New York first. But whatever the case, let's be clear. If you were in Atlanta or if you were in Potomac and you had pointed at somebody and said, you come at me again, I'm coming for you, they would have cussed you out right there on the spot and would have dared you to do something about it. What you gonna do? Even Kim Zolciak would have gave it to her. Let's if we want to name the hood housewives from top to bottom, let's start with New Jersey first. Let's start with New Jersey Because see, out of all the housewives, New Jersey have fought the most. There were seasons where New Jersey was fighting. I think New Jersey have a fight every single year. Some type of hair pull, water throw, table flip, everything. New Jersey. Let's start there. If you was in New Jersey, they would have wore you out. Even the ones that they consider weak would have wore you out. Jackie, Jennifer, Teresa, Margaret, come on, Melissa, would have wore you out. Of course you're not going to go to New York because they going to eat you up. You know you're not going to Potomac, and you damn sure ain't going to Atlanta. Because those girls will eat you alive. That's why you stay on Beverly Hills, so you could be so precious, as you call them. Girl, you couldn't hang with them. You couldn't hang with them if you wanted to. But what I will say is this. Erica kept saying that Sutton was pushing. Sutton was not pushing you at that table. Them girls, those women, Kyle, Dorit, Lisa, were pushing her to keep talking. She tried to say, well, she don't want to talk, I'm done. They pushed her. She was not pushing. They did that. And you... because y'all friends. But I like how Sutton let her know. Sweetheart, you said that you had a good marriage. You said your marriage was great and perfect. Then you jump up and get a divorce? Yeah, you lied to protect the people you love. You lied. That's okay, sweetheart. You're a liar. We all lie to protect the people that we love, but don't sit here and act like you ain't never lied before in life. Like, you're a liar. And not just about that. Sister, but we're going to just keep it pushing. But we go back to this story. Erica says now that it wasn't 12 hours, it was 9. In the original story, she thought Tom was with a woman. Now let me tell y'all something. If Tom, old but is still entertaining 1,000 other women under the sun, I'm green. Anyway, so she says Tom's car tumbles down. It rolls down this hill. 9 hours pass. He gives her a phone call. He's lost. She don't know where he's at. He's lost. Phone down. He wanders around. He calls her again. Where you at? What's around you? He tells her. She's like, okay, he's under the bridge. She goes under the bridge. He's actually under a ravine. There's no police report. They can't find one. I was reading a comment and somebody said, oh, well, you know, I've been a part of these type of things. Police reports get lost all the time. Ooh, let me tell y'all something. Tom is an old, rich, white man in Beverly Hills, Pasadena, wherever he at. There's no way that they lost that police report. There wasn't one. And we're going to just leave that there. But Lisa Rinna then decides that she wants to speak up. Oh, what we just need to do is just stop talking behind each other's backs. We need to stop that. We need to... You're one to speak. You're one to talk. I was so grateful to see that montage that they showed of how she did Yolanda, how she did Kim, how she did Denise. And let me tell you something. I'm sorry, but I'm not really sorry. I could not have been Kyle. I could not have been Kathy getting along with Lisa Rinna. There's no way you gonna come from mine. I may not always get along with my siblings, but I guarantee you one thing, you will not come for them. I let friends and all know, sweetheart, you don't have to like my sister if you don't want to. That is perfectly fine, but what you will not do is talk about it in front of me. Pipe down. And that's why Kathy wasn't fooling with Kyle. Honestly, it wasn't just about their mama. You sat here on this show. Not only did you go after your sister, you let these other women come after your sister, and you didn't do nothing but run. Y'all remember whenever Lisa Rinna and Kim was into it? This is when Eileen Richardson was on the show. And Lisa was doing all that stuff, talking all that crap about Kim behind her back. And when Kim was like, let's not talk about your husband. So leave me alone. How Lisa broke that glass on that table, shards of glass flying everywhere, and Cal running out the door. Let me tell you something. Let that would have been my sister. Let that would have been my brother. Shoot, let that would have been a cousin. Okay? Auntie or uncle. You slam that glass on the table. I would have hopped on that table so fast. I would have dove on Lisa Renner. You not gonna do that to man. Mm-mm. Kyle is so. But I'm so happy that they played that montage and Andy called her out. Sweetheart, you have no room to say. You have nothing to say, no room to stay in, and no leg to stand on. She says that she feels bad now for all the things that she's done. I want to be honest with you all. Lisa Rinna does not feel bad. I know she does not. That is typical. This is typical behavior of someone who's been like kind of caught, right? I'll be honest. I even pulled out my own stuff. I had a situation that went down where I had an impulsive lapse of judgment. I stopped myself before anything could have gone as far as it could have. Me and the person decided we weren't going to speak about it. It ended up coming out some months later. Now what happened? Now you have to apologize, right? Because you feel some level of guilt. I apologize. I felt some level of guilt. Why is that? Because I know I'm not going to do that again. After that happened, I never spoke to that person, never talked to that person. Done, right? Lisa Rinna has continued to do the same and to do the same thing over and over and over again and exhibit the same behavior. She's expressing this now because just like Erica wanted to pull that sympathy card with the mascara, with the eyeliner, Lisa Rinna's trying to pull a sympathy card here of saying that I learned my lesson. She has not learned her lesson because she does not care. And I know that I skipped this thing with the eyeliner, but it shows, because I wrote in my notes, Lisa Rinna need to shut up. It shows that Erica had a plan. It was Camille Grammer who was like, it's interesting that on this day she doesn't wear waterproof eyeliner because Erica always wears waterproof eyeliner. She said she doesn't know, maybe I messed up, blah blah blah, but I do always wear waterproof. Here go Lisa. Well, maybe it was because you got a lot of makeup artists. Maybe someone is, they messed it up. No, they didn't. I guarantee you they didn't mess that up. No way. No way. It was plotted. It was schemed so well. It was a nice transition. But back to the thing at hand. Lisa Rinna's trying to pull a sympathy card of, I'm sorry, I've learned my lesson. I should never have done those things. She's putting that on. It's not working because your behavior from year to year to year has stayed the same. Even after you apologize, you continue to do the same thing. Just because you apologize to us doesn't mean that we're going to sit here and believe you, because we don't. Actually, I don't even think people want you on the show. I don't like you on the show. I don't want you on the show, but hey, I'm not the one that makes the rules up. And then I skipped all over the place. We got the Tom story. But they asked her about her son. Well, when did your son car flip? And she was just like, and we're not gonna talk about that. Basically, like, we're not talking about it. Of course you don't want to talk about it, because if I'm not mistaken, you said your son was in Pasadena, California. Now, I'm not from California, but I know plenty of people from California, and not one of them has said that it snows in Pasadena. Actually, they're all shocked, and now she don't want to talk about it. And see, that's what makes it feel more and more like another lie, because how is it that this happened, but you don't want to talk about it? That was your child. Don't get it? Don't get it. But I think the thing that bothered me the most was two things. When Lisa said that she believes that her bullying helped Kim, if I was Kathy and I was Kyle, I would have cussed her out if not jumped on her. You don't ever say that helped my sister. You more than likely hurt her more. She was already on a TV show. Now this part is her own. She was already on a TV show, and she was trying to present as someone who was recovering. She probably was a recovering addict at the time. I cannot say, I do not know her. However, Lisa, you get on here on this public platform and you embarrass her. Not just on a public platform, but in front of the people that she was in. Talk about her like a dog to folks that whenever the cameras were not with y'all together. And then you just like, I really cared about her. You cannot, because anyone who knows someone that's an addict knows that pointing out these things, especially in these type of ways, triggers them internally. And that internal trigger drives them to go back to the substance of choice. Lisa Renna, if I'm not mistaken, your husband was an alcoholic. You know this. I can guarantee you there's no way that she sits and she talks about Harry Hamlin the way that she did Kim Richards. I can guarantee you there's no way that she sits and she addresses Harry about anything that may be suspicious the way that she did Kim. That lets me know that you know better, you knew better, you just didn't like her, so you wanted to hurt her. You tried to do that. And now because people are saying it, now you want to apologize for it. No, ma'am, you did that on purpose. And you know it. Also, Kathy wanted to apologize to Garcelle about missing her dinner. It was lackluster. It could have been better. It doesn't matter if I'm on a TV show. You still should have texted her. You still should have called her and said, hey, I can't come. You should have offered her that. She extended you an invitation. It's not up to people around you to counsel for you. You should have counseled by calling her on your own, and you did not. And that's why I was disappointed in Kathy Hilton. If I were to speak to someone and apologize for something I did, I take ownership. For instance, when I did my apology, I took ownership. Yes, I did these things. I apologize because these things were a result of me being X, Y, and Z. I did that. Kathy, you should have taken ownership and said, I'm sorry for not contacting you directly and letting you know that I couldn't make it because I was so lazy or because I'm so privileged that I relied on other people to do it for me, and they did not. I thought that the camera crew, the producers, or whatever was going to do it, and they did not. And I truly apologize, Garcelle. That's on me. That would have been a better apology. But you know what? Kathy Hilton don't know how to do that. So I'm just going to leave that alone. But with that being said and done, y'all, that was the end of Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. Now we got to get ready for Potomac, which is coming on up. So I'm happy about that. So, all right, you guys. With that being said and done, I'll let y'all go. Y'all enjoy your night because it is almost midnight. And I'll holler at y'all later.